Yes, joining us right now. Come on in, guys. Come on.
Y'all looking now when you got knocked
shirt.
out.
That's why I got my back up on the wall here.
Where can I sit? Anywhere?
Come on in over here. I'll hide out over here.
Oh wait, somebody's calling me.
So we ran.
Is this okay?
He was sit by me. That's totally fine.
Was it okay?
Yeah. So right now we had 4 mics. We're down to 2. So hopefully you guys are loud.
Cool.
I'm loud, so you can hear me. We've got 30 minutes with these gentlemen right here. So hopefully everyone has prepared their questions. Say that every time, and then nobody ever wants to ask questions first.
Did you say hi?
But I know these guys are very talkative, so I'll let them take it away here.
You ready?
I'm ready. Are you
All
ready?
right, who's doing the questions? You or them?
They are. They are.
All right, who's got the first question? Okay, hold on. Everybody knows Tom, and CJ, right?
Yes.
So I got the biggest mouth. So who's got the first question? Stand up. Stand up. Question?
Yeah, this is for Tom Mathews, who's.
I'll be answering for Tom.
Damn it!
Absolutely. Next question.
No comment. We had actually talked earlier about Never Hike in the Woods. Great movie.
Never hike in the snow, but go ahead. It's okay.
That was Halloween. You gotta get these stories
Hike in the woods.
But really good movie. So I was just like wondering, like, what was it like? How did they like approach you with what was it like when they approached you?
Really too long of a story to tell you, right? But if you want to meet me at my table, I'll be happy to tell you because it's a really long
It's
story.
real simple. See this?
No, not at all.
Lots of it.
Anybody else? Stand up, please.
Hi, my name is Robert Carter. I have a question for CJ Graham.
Are you standing up?
It's going to be one of those panels.
Go ahead.
I have a question. When you've been that sheriff in half, how did you get that strength, body strength?
You know the answer. You were there.
Well,
See the sheriff?
it's my favorite kill in the movie. I was lucky enough to see the dailies of, because what we see on the screen now is the very last moments of it happening. I was able to see the whole thing happen because I saw dailies without the sound effects and without the music, without the snapping, nothing. And it was so pure and chilling. And what it was is a simple gag. They dug a hole, the sheriff stood in it, bent over on the ground, the stunt guy from his torso was in it, and his legs were sticking out. They covered the split with the jacket, and then CJ just bent him over backwards, and the sheriff just bent over backwards like that. The guy in the hole just kicked his legs out, and that's when they put in the snap of the spine, and it was so creepy. But I asked the director if we could get a director's cut, because that was and have that in it, because it was really a great moment. And you worked out. You did a bunch of push-ups to get the upper body straight.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I looked at the moment, but it was like a simple gig. It was like, I'm sure a 5-year-old could have done it, but it looked radical on the screen.
Totally.
Wow.
Good question. Any more for CJ that I can stop on it? Any more questions?
Hey, I gotta go with the people on my table. Y'all just keep answering questions, all right, y'all?
Who's got the next one out there?
When you were doing the...
You can stand up, don't be shy. What are you embarrassed? You're the front.
Tell my people what to do.
When you were doing the... telling the kids how the Indians were finding the father, was that improv?
Okay, so I'll answer that question. Anyway, Tom was there, and all of a sudden, the director just said, go. He improv the whole 30 minutes of that. Improv 100%. Started talking about the girls, about the rocks, how to follow. Tell him.
Well, thanks, Jay. Anyway, so here's the deal: is Tommy was at the end of the film, and film was very expensive. We used to buy because there's a cheap film. These guys understand. You get like ends. There's like ends of. See, they'll buy half the thing because it's really expensive. This was like the last shot of the thing. He said, "Look, we got like 4 minutes left. Just do it. Here's rock. Do whatever you want. If we like it, we'll keep it. If we don't, it's no big deal." So they had a guy if you understand, there's one guy's on me and the other one's on the kids, so we could just do one improv. There was no going back. You didn't have to. You had the editing stuff like that. But yeah, it was just completely made up. It was just, I didn't know, we just threw the stones and I was just, roll. So that's that.
And exactly what I said.
The ends were, so if you buy a roll of 35 millimeter film and you shoot 380 feet of it, what's left over is 20 feet of it. So those are called the ends. And it's still good, So that's what he's referring to when they use the ends and he just improvised.
Sometimes though, it'll get old, and there's been times where it starts to yellow a little bit. You can see in a film all of a sudden, like the transition, it's like it'll change a little bit, like there's diffusion or something. It's not, because this stuff sits around sometimes, but it's still a value. It's still like 5 minutes worth. 5 minutes is that's a lot of,
That's a lot of improv.
Oh, that was great though. It's just every time I see that, and then you kind of steal it at that moment, the movie, and then all of a sudden this guy comes in, walking through, and you're just.
That was one of the things. The editing is so important.
I want to see you walk down the back like a I can't do you in your butt, okay? It's a hard job.
Sir, Tom Mathews. You're the best Tommy Jarvis, in my
Thank you
opinion.
very much.
And had you seen part 4 or 5 before you got this role?
No.
So you didn't see how they developed 4 and 5?
Correct.
And the characters?
I saw 1 when it first came out.
So now after the fact, I'm sure you know the.
I got cast and then I went and saw 1 through 5.
Okay.
Because they hadn't made 6 yet.
Sure.
So I saw 1 through 5 because I specifically zoned in on Tommy Jarvis, the character I was hired for, to see if there was any kind of something I could carry over to my role for Tommy Jarvis, like some kind of mannerism or something, a tick, an ear grab or something. But I didn't. Nothing really stood out.
Because the main thing that stands out to me is that he had kind of gone a little crazy at the end of 4, and then he was pretty nuts in 5 and seeing the visions, and then they just and then they just wiped it off, and you were just driving the truck, and we're all good again with your friend.
I was rehabilitated.
Yeah, so there, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
AA.
You did come off a little bit. It was like a little paranoid.
In the beginning,
it was a little bit like a little over
intense, staring.
You gave the
Something I had to do. Well, I had to, I had to take him up. I was on a mission.
Yeah, but it's Horseshack.
Yeah. Big fan. Anybody else?
Okay, we're out here.
Yes, sir.
Kind of a little question for the two of you. Sorry, Tom, but you
Whatever, man.
you bet an end in it. But at the time, the Tommy and Jason thing was really kind of built up, and I mean, were you too disappointed when in part 7 they decided to kind of go a totally different? Because I was kind of shocked when.
I was. I mean, there's no continuity in pretty much in the whole franchise after that. I think what happened was, it was a horror movie back in the 80s. They were kind of frowned upon, but it was like Paramount's read it as Stepchild. It kept making noise, so they kept making money.
So they
exactly. So they kept making it, and I think what they did, there was a big blockbuster going into space. So they took that model and tried to get that audience. Or whoever in 3D.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, they just, whatever the big blockbuster was that year from like Warner Brothers or something. Yeah, they just tried to tap into that without having any continuity. I was in part 7, but it was just a clip from part 6. So, but there was talk about having our characters come back.
Obviously, the fan movies that have been made. There's interest, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
I think what everybody has learned, in the 80s, I'm still a rookie compared to these vets. I did a couple films and I was very fortunate to be part of the genre. They're much more experienced, but for me, I just looked at it as, hey, this is great, I don't care. But now that I've seen it in its entirety over the last 3 decades, we've learned so much, like Harry Potter. They knew how to carry it from the beginning all the way to where it's at today. Where Star Wars from the 70s, if you look at it, they jump all over. Because they didn't know what they had back then. It was the same thing with Friday the 13th. If they didn't own crystal ball that they could have 12 of these, they probably would have figured out a little more closely so the fans would be engaged to go see the next one because they saw the last one. And there is continuity, which there is.
There's continuity, and then the audience gets, emotionally involved with the characters as you follow them over the years and stuff like that. That's what you want to do.
CJ, can you talk about how you got the role? And I think you replaced an individual.
Are you standing up too? Look, if you're going to answer questions, stand up. Be proud.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I believe you replaced someone who was.
Be nice.
They thought he wasn't in the proper shape, and they brought in a stud like yourself.
That's not very nice. So let's be fair. I was the rookie, still am, compared to these two gentlemen. There was a gentleman that was cast originally. I was out for the call as he was. It was down to the two of us. He was a professional stuntman, stunt coordinator. And when the first daily came back, that my brother was talking about next to me, he just didn't, a little thicker in the midsection than I. And when that daily came back with paintball, satisfaction wasn't there. You know, like he said, wow, when the sheriff one came back. The effect wasn't there. So that one shot is kept because it was a very complicated scene. And there's one scene where he's walking in the woods. If you look, his pants are a little short. That's not me. And then I got the call, hey, you know, are you available? Yes. And this was, I believe, on a Thursday, and Tuesday morning, I was in Covington, Georgia, picking up what was there, which was really just the one scene. There is one other scene that I did not do, and I always give Christopher Swift, the special effects guy, credit for it. The scene with the eye, it's called the second unit. I was shooting on principle, probably with Tom.
Was that the maggots? The maggots. That was a real tight shot.
Yeah, and so it's a tight shot like this, and so he went ahead and put the makeup on his face and laid down, and they used a maggot wrangler with Q-tips to keep out of his eyeball. So Christopher did that, and I always give him credit for it. You know, I mean, he did it. I would have done it.
Of all the things to give up, that was probably one, like, you know, I can live without maggots.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it didn't bother me one damn bit, all right? Because I'm still here, and Chris ain't nowhere to be found.
Yeah, we had a maggot wrangler on the set, and because those Hollywood maggots, man, they get out of control every once in a while. You gotta wrangle those suckers.
Hey, good question.
This question for CJ. So, when you were approaching Jason, how were you inspired? Did you see the films before, or did you try your own approach, or how'd you go about doing that?
I never saw the other ones because I wasn't a fan, so to speak. But Tom McLoughlin just kind of gave me the input that he thought. You know, I'm a Universal horror fan as he was. I've seen the old Frankensteins, the black and whites. So I just kind of followed direction. I didn't do much improv, and I'm still kind of big, and I still kind of walk like that naturally. So it was very simplistic for me, just to get up and turn my shoulders. He was very clear though about the directing because I can't see anything. I got one eyeball, and he would just say barely move your shoulders a couple inches, and that's all I would do. Is just enough to get the impact, but it does come through the camera much more severe.
If you saw this film, and let's say CJ hadn't gotten hired and they kept the first guy, there's an intimidation about him walking that's like, it's an unstoppable force that's coming, and it's just, it's eerie and scary, and there's not any doubt. And the other guy, I mean, I'll say this, if I look, because I know that scene where it is, it's almost the difference between like a fucking warrior and like Ronald McDonald running out. It's just different. He doesn't have the intensity. I'm just, that's me, I didn't say
Ronald works. It works all the time. Okay.
I'm a friend of Ronald's.
Well, my partner Tom and I did that.
I was there.
He was probably there 95% of the time. He was underwater with me, to be fair. The only difference is I was physically chained down, and he could try to get to the top.
And the costume was on too. That way. That way.
Was that the most miserable thing to do of all of them? Was that the most? It was just like the. What do you think?
No.
I got to be fair for me, you know, and to be, I always give Tom credit, you know, I mean, I wasn't a stuntman to begin with, nor was he, but we did it. It was cold because the safety divers had the 1/4-inch wetsuits, but we didn't have it. We had our wardrobe. So give it 4, 5, 6, 7 hours underwater and you get cold. And again, not that Tom could even get to the surface if he wanted to because he was soaking wet and cold and out of air. My character, I was physically chained to the bottom. I wasn't going anywhere. So if I was out of air and they just left me, there's no way I would get out of that chain, panicking, trying to get to the surface.
Yeah, we had scuba divers off camera, and every time we wanted oxygen, I would go like this, and they would come over, and we'd get more oxygen for however long it would last, a minute.
Yeah, when you see me doing this, That's because I'm not aware. All right, that's me freaking out. Yeah, there's a signal to get to your chest.
Didn't you guys have some other stuff you guys shot like in LA at the pool? There was a swimming pool because you didn't have, there was some coverage that needed to be made, and then Tommy the God went to his parents' house or something like that, bloodied up their whole swimming pool, and that was another.
That was for the motor.
Oh, for the motor thing on it. Gotcha. I'm gonna sit out there, I think.
And whenever Jason goes to little girl,
Don't think
Nancy-
Jason goes to hell.
No, goes to Nancy.
Nancy.
Goes to Nancy. Was he more curious? Because I never felt the kids were in danger. I felt like he was protecting the kids from the counselors because of what happened to him when he drowned. So that's why he was taking, and that those kids never were in danger.
I mean, the way I was directed to was it was a curiosity factor.
Yes, okay.
And the word curiosity was what it was. I mean, in Frankenstein, he accidentally threw the girl into the water, but when he was looking at the flower, there was more curiosity. I don't think he intentionally meant to drown her, so to speak. It was just the flower flew, and he thought he'd throw the girl, and she couldn't swim.
Every time I watch the movie, I see him as, okay, I'm here, this girl is scared, they come check on her, Carrie and her friend, what's that?
Renee, I think.
Renee, yeah, they come and check on them, and then they leave, but they leave the girl still scared, and so that kind of makes Jason like, oh, well, these people ain't doing their job. I'm going to take care of this, and I'm going to protect these kids, just like his mother was doing and keeping the camp closed.
Very much so. I mean,
That's why I was
in-depth
at it.
detail, like you're saying, but that is true. I mean, Jason just took a curiosity factor of lack of responsibility on I guess, what were you guys called?
CITs, counselors. Counselors in training.
Yeah,
CIT.
counselors in training.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Tom, what was it like working with Jennifer Cooke? You guys seem like you guys really
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Yeah. Awesome.
Come on.
No, really.
She was great. Yeah, she was, she was really great, really positive, good energy and stuff. I'm just sorry she doesn't join us on these things, that's all.
My question is for CJ. You mentioned Universal Monsters and Frankenstein's monster. Did you take any inspiration from Boris Karloff?
Not directly, indirectly, maybe subconsciously, but you're a vet, I'm a vet, military, walking 30 inches all around. It's a complete pace when you're walking as a soldier. So I still do it today. It just was natural at 28, 29 years old from my experience in the military. So it's just once you get to a point where you carry yourself a certain way, for whatever reason you do it forever, unless you consciously change your walk. I still walk the same way. If people walk behind me now, it's the same walk. It's just kind of natural.
You just reminded me, I had a friend who went into the Navy, and he went to boot camp, and he came back out of training, and he went to sleep, and he slept like this because he was trained to sleep on a cot. So it spills over to almost every facet, and he may still sleep like that today. I don't know.
It's a good point. I mean, I do when I fly in a plane. I'm just like this. I put my head down and I don't move.